And just like that, look at here, guys. Me and Dorian live in person here to talk to you guys about this past weekend's card, man. It was a fucking good one. I'm not mad at it. It was great. It's good to be here.
Bro.
Glad you came to visit
Bro.
at the beach, but what's up, man?
Bro, it's just awesome to be here, man. Just a super long time since we actually seen one another, too. So just to make it up here on vacation and everything, actually get to do the pod live. Super dope experience that we get ready to have. And, bro, super awesome card over the weekend. A little bit of an anticlimactic ending, which, of course, we'll get to it and everything. But yeah, card overall was super awesome. And glad to actually finally be here to give the people the content.
Definitely. I'm trying to pull up the card real quick because I'm not prepared. Apparently, after getting all this set up, I just forgot what we were talking about. So, just one.
Hey, we're just going with the flow, man. That's all it is. And it was definitely a great main event for the time that it lasted. You know.
All right, so let's just kind of talk about it for just a second. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Everyone wants to hear about it. You said it was anticlimactic. I feel like everyone agrees with you because if you think about it for just a second, how long has it been since you've seen a pay-per-view not headlined with any title fight? And this one, the whole card, 0 title fights. It happened all the way through. No one really even said anything about it, and only Conor can do that. So a huge card, but as you said, a huge letdown for, I guess, how it ended. But Dustin Poirier defeats Conor McGregor at the end of the first round via doctor stoppage. Conor McGregor made sure to let everyone know that he did not get knocked out. So doctor stoppage, he broke his leg. What's up here, man? What were your, I guess, main takeaway from the fight overall?
Well, the funniest part was actually that part saying that, Conor McGregor demanded it to be a doctor stoppage because he in no way got finished. He was actually
yeah, look, you're good. I just gotta click the viewfinder on it. You're good.
Okay, yeah, but it was just funny seeing that, he was adamant to make sure that it was going to be a doctor stoppage and not actually get TKO'd. But just overall takeaway from the fight, I mean, Dustin just looked like the better fighter overall, dude. I mean, I just think that, Dustin, he's just more well-rounded at this point. He's battle-tested in the division. What is he? Now 12-2 in the lightweight division. So, I mean, hell of a resume that he's starting to put together at lightweight. And I just thought during the sequence of the fight, McGregor did look good. He had a little bit of his old bounce back to him. He was landing a lot of leg kicks, landing some good left hands, but I thought there in a couple of exchanges, Dustin had hurt him with a left hand, and Conor actually initiated the grappling sequence that got him put on the ground, and then Dustin Poirier from there, of course, after Conor missed the guillotine, Poirier just put on the ground and pound on him. And unfortunately, with the injury happening to McGregor, of course, we never wanted to see the fight end like that. We wanted some sort of finality to the trilogy. So it just sucked that it had to end like that. But just throughout the whole fight, Dustin still proved to me in that 5 minutes that he was still the better fighter.
I got to be honest, I didn't learn anything from the fight. Like, just overall, it's like it was kind of back and forth. Dustin did have the better of him. I didn't see a 10-8 round, unlike some of the judges. Like, I didn't see 10-8 there, but Dustin definitely won the first round. But Conor had his moments. He was shellacking him with leg kicks, dude. And I feel like that was his detriment, if you will. It's like, I believe he had to have hurt himself on just one of, like, how many leg kicks did he throw? Multiple ones. So he had to have hurt himself there. And then just on that final punch, just how explosive he is, just drives to the ground and just forces in, was just the final straw. I guess broke his leg, fell back on it, and just an awful way to end. And before we go off the topic for just a second, at the end, he just looked kind of like a Scarface, like a super villain, like at the end of a movie, like, this is not done, like as he's falling into like lava or something. Like, that's the face that he had. Like, it was almost like scary to the point where it's like, damn, this dude, he was truly angry there. It's like, man, a fourth fight, it's on the horizon. Like, it's already been talked about now. You heard Dana White talk about it.
Well, Dustin never shied away from it either.
I know,
when he was asked about it, he was like, "Yeah, we'll fight again." Like he's more than welcome to the idea. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if within the next 12 months we hear Conor versus Dustin Poirier.
And here's what I don't like about it. It's like if Dustin fights Charles Oliveira next and he wins the title, is Conor really going to get a title shot rematch against Dustin after he just got knocked out by him and then lost to him pretty decisively in the second round? He's going to get a title shot off 2 losses to the same guy going up against man, it's just like it's something that it just doesn't make any sense. Like I'd be okay if Conor got 1 win. I don't even care who it is. Just give him Tony Ferguson, man. The fight's there. I almost feel like it should kind of happen. It's the perfect fight to get Conor back on the winning streak. Tony has not looked good at all in the past few fights, and I believe Conor could probably finish him. Like even if the other contenders that he fought couldn't finish him, I don't believe Conor just has that one-touch power that can KO someone. And I do feel like the refs tend to lean toward the stars, and we'll talk about it a little bit later too. But if the stars are really putting it on someone, they're real quick to be like, oh, okay, that's good. I was like, let's get your win. But I guess anything else on the main event itself?
Just funny, sort of you saying that he turned into a supervillain there at the end. I just thought that was really crazy just for him to, have his leg broken and have the immediacy to basically be trying to sell the 4th fight. This isn't over, blah, blah, blah. Your wife was in me DMs. and it's crazy just for him to have that mindset to just immediately switch it from the pain and agony that he was in from completely breaking his leg to now selling the 4th fight. So it's crazy just that he can just flip that switch just like that. Dustin even alluded to the fact that he said he thought that Conor should at least win one other fight before they are to go on and face again, because I do think that Conor at some point needs to try to get a win against somebody else. I mean,
he has to. I just can't see it off of that. You can't lose 2 to the same guy and then get a 3rd rematch.
I mean, he's won
for a title,
and he's 1-3 in the division. So,
I know he's only won 1 fight at 155.
Yeah, and that was the 1 fight against Eddie Alvarez. And I mean, Dustin took care of him too. So I mean, Dustin's been there and done that just as far as fighting everybody. I think Charles Oliveira is the same way. So I think that's why the title fight between Dustin and Charles is the perfect fight, because 2 dudes who have been in the organization for a super long time, paid their dues, and now they're both here with a chance to kind of, show their stripes as far as, lasting this long and still being able to fight at championship level this way. So really good fight overall that I think that Dustin and Charles will end up having. Hopefully Conor, I mean, you could put him up against Tony. I think you could put him up against Chandler. I mean, Chandler.
Man, that's not, I don't know if that's I almost feel like they need to get Conor in a fight that is fairly winnable. You're going to see, I guess, the best Conor shown. If he fights Chandler, dude, that is a ball of energy that just comes to take your head off or take you down, one of the two. And it's I don't want to see Conor fight Chandler.
I think with Chandler too, and I think he kind of showed in that Charles Oliveira fight. Now he does have good cardio, but he did gas out there because he tried really hard to put Charles Oliveira out of there. And I even told you going into that fight, one of his mistakes that he's always made at Bellator, dude's very hittable. He can get hit. He's willing to take one to give one, but sometimes when he takes that one, it can put him out as well. So I think just as far as Conor having that left hand, being able to land on anybody, I think, a matchup with Chandler, a matchup with Ferguson, any of those guys, you could put him up against, you could put him Paul Felder, German Dragon.
He's retired now.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think
Paul back for the Conor.
Yeah, Paul Felder's already said it. So put him up against Paul Felder. So and it doesn't even have to be a super winnable fight. Just put him up against strategically someone who's not going to be willing to take him down as much. Chandler's willing to bang it out. So I think with Conor, endless matchups you can make with him and still be able to get him to bounce back and possibly earn a title shot.
I guess the best case scenario here would be Charles Oliveira win against Poirier, keep the championship, and then Conor gets the rematch there. I'd prefer for Dustin to win and Conor get a warm-up fight. I don't want to see it again so quick. I'm a Conor fan, but it's like,
I mean, I think regardless of Dustin wins the title, I would like to see both of them take different fights in between, because I don't need to see them immediately in another third fight. I think that's going to be a really hard sell to convince somebody, hey, this is the third time in a row that Conor McGregor is going to fight Dustin Poirier. Let's see if he can make a difference this time. It's like, dude, you've got to do something to at least earn your opportunity to get back at Dustin, whether Dustin wins the title or not. I think you have to do something in order to change it up, or it's just going to be, everybody at some point is going to be like, dude, are you seriously fighting him again? Like, you can't fight anybody else? So,
like, I've already made the joke like a few times. Like, it's going to be Conor versus Dustin 33 until Conor wins. That's going to be like the tagline.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess you called that one right. You called Dustin Poirier. I wanted Conor McGregor to win there, but at the same time, it's like the fight, it didn't end the way a fight should end, but it doesn't matter. In the scorebooks, Dustin Poirier won there. So we're going to move down the card to one that you actually didn't get right. I said I believe Gilbert Burns was going to have the power to get it done. I'm not sure if that was my official prediction, but you have heard me talk about that. Like, man, Gilbert's tough. He's explosive. He's good everywhere. I don't know. He's not great at one single thing aside from jiu-jitsu, but to get it to the ground, you need some wrestling, and he's not a great wrestler. So in the end, Gilbert Burns getting it done, unanimous decision over Wonderboy. How do I say this? This was rough because I feel like if the fight would have been 5 rounds, it maybe could have gone just a little bit different, because it's like you saw, I guess, small flashes of what to look forward to, because I feel like at the end, maybe Gilbert wasn't as active as he was when he started off, but in the end, Wonderboy just having a hard time keeping Gilbert away from him, if you will. And Wonderboy's great at that. He was just having a hard time. I think the cage actually seemed maybe smaller, even though it was a big cage. It almost looked like it wasn't. So I guess what do you think happened here, man?
Yeah, I just thought Gilbert actually, really just surprised me with his wrestling ability. And to be honest, I know that Gilbert Burns had fought at 155 before, and that he moved up to 170 because he was having problems cutting down. I did not realize how large he was until actually standing next to Wonderboy and just seeing his mass compared to Wonderboy.
I would actually counter you, because in the fight, I was like, damn, it looks like Wonderboy is 2 weight classes bigger than Gilbert in there. Well, just for some reason, maybe it's just the height difference.
It's the height difference, but as far as body mass, when you see Gilbert Burns' mass compared to Wonderboy,
it's like shoulders to top of head. It's like a triangle. Like he has like a weird shaped head too, and it's like a perfect triangle.
I mean, bro, he's so freaking stacked. So I did not realize body mass wise he was that much bigger than Wonderboy. So whenever he was able to get his hands on him, I mean, he kind of took him down with ease there. Wonderboy was a little bit tricky as far as when he got his back up against the fence. But then once Gilbert was able to get his back off the fence, I mean, multiple times, took him down, was able to get control for most of the rounds. I did think later in the fight, Wonderboy was starting to get a rhythm, but I thought Wonderboy's biggest problem was he was just too hesitant. He wasn't pulling the trigger enough, because when at the times that he would throw and land, he was landing some big shots. And I think was it late in the 3rd round when he landed that big right hand, and he kind of sent Gilbert flying a little bit, and he started putting the combo on him.
Hesitant, from that point on. And
it's like when Wonderboy he still has the ability as far as putting it on people, super quick, super good at about getting in and out of range, landing that big right hand. He hit Gilbert with it a couple of times, but I just thought he wouldn't follow up on it.
I think he was just hesitant because if you dive in, on Gilbert, he can crack you and he can put your lights out. Like he showed that with Maya, and he hit Usman super hard too, dropped Usman. And it's like, if you dive in, Gilbert wants to be close to you, and are you going to end up on the ground again at the end of the round? So I just think it was he was playing it safe, but that was kind of the downfall. It's just he didn't do enough to put it on Gilbert there at the end to get that finish. I guess anything else here?
Yeah, I mean, just as far as Wonder Boy, he kind of had some title opportunities on the line now. So I think for him, that might have been his last run as far as being able to finally make it to that championship and possibly get away with it.
You never know. Glover's 42 right now.
It's a crazy sport, so you never know. But just as far as like how, well, one, talent rich the 170-pound division is, and two, as far as the guys up at the top, they never really fight that much. So so for Wonder Boy, maybe have seen his last run there at 170, but for Gilbert Burns, I like that he was willing to take on all comers. When Nate Diaz, Masvidal, Leon Edwards, like he called out all those guys and said, "Hey, bring on all comers, and I'm ready to fight." So Gilbert Burns really, really impressed me as far as him being able to control Wonder Boy for as long as he did, and good win by him.
With that being said, do you agree with me now? You know who's next for Usman. It can't be Wonder Boy. Gilbert just fought him. Colby's got to be next, man. I don't see who else can be next if not Colby Covington.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at this point, by process of elimination, I would not be surprised if Dana was to pull a fast one, and maybe if negotiations go right with Colby. I mean, look, we've seen it before when Colby was supposed to fight Tyron for the title, and Darren Till ended up taking the spot because Colby and the UFC weren't on the same page. So they're very capable of pulling the rug out from underneath them. But I would say, as of right now, he should be the front runner.
It's got to be, man. It's got to be. It has to be like rather soon too. Like I almost feel like, man, are we just gonna hold up? Like I don't know. I honestly don't know. Even like know what to say. I feel like that fight should have been happened before the George 2 fight. It's like,
but we knew what that was for.
What are we waiting on at this point? Give Colby Covington another title shot, whether you hate him or you love him, whether you want to see him get knocked out or win. I feel like he's deserving of the title shot at least. It needs to happen. That's just all I'm saying. All right, so moving down here, the featured fight of the night, Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. I was rooting for Greg Hardy. I feel like Greg Hardy gets so much hate. What people have a hard time doing is just separating people from their past, dude. Like, shit's happened. It's long gone. This is his new opportunity. The courts have decided whatever they have to decide. If you can't get in a fight for a living, what else can you do at that point? I hear everyone saying he needs to be out of the UFC, he needs to be in jail, this and that. It's like, bro, like that doesn't have anything to do with the UFC. What he did in his old spare personal life, in his whatever, I believe my man has changed. Like he's trying to do good in life, and I feel like he just gets so much hate, and it's just, I don't want to say unwarranted because people are going to have their own opinions, but when it comes to in the UFC, it's just like, why are you bringing up stuff outside of the cage that happened a long time ago? It doesn't have anything to do with fighting in the UFC, and I just think some people have a hard time just drawing that like line. Like, I'm a huge John Jones fan. I know people that are huge John Jones fans. I think he's a shitty person outside of the cage, you know, but I'm able to draw that line. Is he a good fighter or not? And that being said, I'm a Greg Hardy fan when it comes to him being in the cage fighting. He just comes, he's throwing. That's what he's doing. He's coming to bang, bro. He tried to bang with Tai Tuivasa, and he got banged out.
Wrong move. Wrong move. But to his credit, he did actually rock Tuivasa.
Yeah, he
hit him with a big right hand,
and you saw it, like
Tuivasa's whole neck, like when Hardy hit him with that punch, dude, like his whole neck slunk back. Like, so Greg Hardy did hurt him there. He just got reckless when he was charging in,
and that's because he's green. He's still super green in fighting.
Yeah, dude, like literally just started learning how to fight probably in what 2017, 2018 or so. So I mean, it's not like he's been fighting for a long time. He's been fighting in the UFC surprisingly for a long time. And the thing
all
with
his
him,
fights have been in the UFC.
and the thing about it is with him, you know, he had taken like a lot of fights back to back to back to back. Like he was just getting active as far
And
as
they
fighting.
weren't against scrubs either. You guys forget he fought Jorgen De Castro, right? And that dude has hands. I know he's out of the UFC now. I don't feel like that dude should be out of the UFC. Like I almost feel like that was kind of more of like a contractual like fucking difference. Not because like fucking Jorgen shouldn't be in the
And
UFC.
they've been making a lot of cuts here lately too for people who they've been overpaying.
Yeah, so now Greg Hardy doesn't have any wins over anyone in the UFC currently right now. So
well, I mean, he fought Alexander Volkov. He's
like,
fought a lot of tough competition. So I'm not saying that, you know, there isn't anything there to be done with him, but I think you know, I think Tai Tuivasa is a lot better than what he has shown to this point. And I know he had the Arlovsky fight. Some people thought he lost. He won the fight, but then he had the JDS loss. And then he had just a couple of losses there where he just kind of looked like lifeless. So people were ready to count him out. He's a lot better than what people give him credit for. So Greg Hardy losing to him isn't necessarily a bad thing because that's a pretty big step up in competition. And he fought Marcin Tybura in his last fight too. So it's not like Greg Hardy's out here fighting scrubs by any means. But I just think where he's literally still learning on the job. And I just think it's going to be hard for him to kind of take that next step without any type of time to put development in his game. So I just think he's kind of stuck in that position right now.
I just think people get, like, you gotta cut him a break. Like he's beating anyone not in the UFC at heavyweight. Like there's a high chance that he knocks all of them out. It's just I believe that Greg Hardy is good enough to be in the UFC. I don't think he'll be champion or anything like that, but at least keep him in there as a named gatekeeper to, okay, can you get past Greg Hardy? Because that's not really saying a whole lot at this point. So it's like, keep him in there like as a fun gatekeeper. People want to see him lose, like apparently. Keep throwing him in there. I just see so much hate about everyone. Get him out of the UFC. He's garbage. It's like, well, I mean, you're just bringing like your own personal shit into it at this point because he has beaten guys that were good guys.
Yeah, that's all it ever is that people can't separate that stuff. And that's one thing I can actually appreciate about the UFC is that the UFC is actually willing to do that stuff, or most like, you know, fight organizations or like boxing promoters or anybody like that, because he got blackballed out of the NFL. I mean, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and he was on the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't like him, and I didn't like him because he was a very cringeworthy player on the Cowboys. But when he was questioned in the media in the NFL, he was kind of I guess he wasn't very apologetic with his comments when it came to all his past allegations. So I think people are still holding that against him. But I mean, that stuff it was so long ago in the past at this point. Like you said, the dude's doing fighting for a living. So, I mean,
like, what else can you do besides be in jail?
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean, he's got to be able to live at some point, you know. So the legal system has played out his process in it. And yeah, I mean, I think he had paid some fines or something like that. He had paid the girl off basically, or something to that effect. I don't know the whole story. So allegedly. But yeah, I think just as far as him, he's a pretty entertaining fighter. I mean, I don't know if they keep
the bang, bro. He comes the bang.
I don't know if they keep him around just because I don't know if because the UFC is supposed to be at the spot to where like you've made it, and especially in the heavyweight division. I don't think for him being in the UFC as long as he is that they're going to be able to have the time to step him back and then try to have him reset and develop while they're building other contenders.
Because he did have I like the developmental deal, right?
Yeah.
Like from the Contender Series. So it's not even like they knew what they were getting from one point. So everyone that's like, get him out of here, he's garbage. It's like the UFC knew what they had from the very beginning. A raw, athletic dude with no fighting like experience, and they're willing to take the risk. I don't know how much longer it's going to last at this point. But I just think a little early for all the fans to just be like, get him out of here. He's garbage. So let's talk about Tai Tuivasa for a second. I heard that Tai Tuivasa, after the Conor McGregor fight, was waiting in his tunnel, ripped his cast off, and did a shoot out of the Conor McGregor cast. No, I'm just kidding. Tai Tuivasa had to drink a gallon of random fans' beers on the way back to his locker room, but
with the dash of hot sauce,
all out of shoes, a dash of Poirier's hot sauce. He wasn't a fan of it. I don't know how much great publicity that is for Poirier's hot sauce to tie to Tuivasa. Like, you're telling me.
To be fair, they put a hot sauce in beer.
Okay, to be fair, you're drinking beer out of a stinky, sweaty shoe. Hot sauce is the least of your worries at that point.
But I would imagine in terms of the flavors don't clash well between a beer and hot sauce. Yeah, that's just my thing. Hey, because he got a fan out of me in this stuff, so okay. It's not the sauce. It's not the sauce.
All right, so moving down, Irene Aldana really just. How do I say this? She knocks out Yana Kunitskaya, but I feel like Yana was coming out throwing some heat. I was like, oh, she's putting the pressure on. But the second that Irene just landed one clean shot, put her down, followed up, put the lights. I don't know if she put the lights out or not, but she definitely finished it there. Anyway, Irene Aldana, a force to be reckoned with. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I don't want to see her fight Amanda Nunes right away. But I feel like maybe like a GDR fight, something like that, just to see, really see where her striking level is at. Because against Holly Holm, like you saw, she was able to be kept at distance with kicks. I don't really think like the GDR fights too much like that. She's a lot more box heavy. So I think that's a good fight and a good test to see, okay, let's see who's going to get the next crack at Amanda Nunes. What's up here, man?
Yeah, and I think if you get a win over GDR as well, that's a perfectly good reason for you to get a title shot, because GDR's only lost to really Amanda Nunes. She's beaten Holly Holm and Aspen Ladd and most of the women up at the top of the division. That would be a really good matchup for Irene Aldana. Her boxing is just absolutely crazy, dude. When she came out, you could see Yana was trying to put the pressure on her. But I think that's what ended up ultimately being her downfall, was because she was kind of getting reckless and she was stepping in there real, heavy footed, not with any, legit head movement or anything like that. And Aldana just came up with that left hook and just caught her clean right on the chin.
Drop there, dude.
Yeah, sat her right on her wallet, man. And sat her right on her wallet. Started with a ground and pound, and it was an absolute brutal finish. So, really good performance from Aldana, and I actually like the GDR matchup now that you said that, because that's actually a good test to see where she's at, and you get a win over GDR. I mean, I believe she's the number one ranked contender in the division.
Who else is there? Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, that could definitely put it right back up in the title.
So confusing. I want to keep looking down here, and then the camera's up there.
I done did it about 2 or 3 times. I don't know where to look.
The camera's up there. Okay, so probably the most controversial fight of the night. Suga Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. A lot of people are mad at this stoppage, man, but everyone was saying too early. Man, I think it was about 10 minutes too late. I'm just going to be honest. Like, after the first round, the dude got dropped 2 times in the first round. If you remember, Sean hit him with the hook, started fucking dribbling him, started hitting him, hit him with a spinning back kick, and it did not finish him there. But at the end of the first round, he dropped him again. So he got dropped 2 times in that first round. Just the first round alone, about 2.5 minutes in, I was watching it, with my girlfriend. I'm like, damn, there's still 3 more minutes of this round? Like, it was almost like the ass beating was prolonged at that point. The dude, from 45 seconds in, dude, you could tell that there were just levels to this game. So that being said, at the end of the first round, I would have been cool with okay, you're not winning this. I'm going to go ahead and call it off. Herb would have not been wrong to call it off right there. What I don't understand is why you let him get his ass beat for a whole nother round again, and then call it with 30 seconds left. Bro, that was either way you look at it, it was a bad stoppage because it should have been either way earlier or you shouldn't have stopped that shit because he was taking no much more damage there than he was at any other point in that fight. But I just feel like it was just late overall. Like Herb should have stopped that way earlier. Like the dude was walking forward like a Pez dispenser, just getting his head cracked back. Like he was a walking heavy bag. So it's like at that point, man, it's like I see a whole bunch of hate. Like Herb fucking stopped way too early. That's an issue. Like you should have let him finish. And even Joe and like DC, like we're saying, like you gotta let him finish. You gotta let him finish. At that point, I kind of agree with them, but you should have stopped it a long time ago. And I also like made the joke, Herb may have put his $1,900 salary for fucking roughing that fight on Sean by third round TKO or something, so he could get some fucking more money. But man, Chris Moutinho is tough, but
tough as nails.
I don't know if he belongs in the UFC because it's like you can't just be tough and like being in the UFC. How many shots did he even throw that fight? Like less than 50, and Sean landed like over 200, 180, something like that. It's like a person can't quadruple how many shots you threw when they like that's how many they landed on you. It's like it's tough to see how his face looked after that. Just like roadkill hamburger.
I mean,
Suga Show. All right, Dorian. Go ahead.
Look, I get it, but I do think, like a big reason, or I think a big thing they're going to try to keep him around because I think he's at least worth another shot because where he shows so much heart, and he did it on 10 days' notice. Dude was working on heart.
Fought 125 like before.
Yeah, so he's a blown up flyweight. He took the fight on 10 days' notice. Dude was working part-time, or he was working full-time at some paint store that he was the manager of and knew that he was getting his fight.
He also got a little bit in his hair, too.
Yeah, just a smidge if you couldn't see it. So yeah, I just thought that for him to show the guts and courage that he did, it was really admirable. I don't want to say it's admirable for him to get his face smashed in. I mean, he had some moments in there where he would hit Sean because he would have a couple moments where he would he was rushing him one time and he got Sean O'Malley against the cage and he hit him with the right hand. And then after he did, he was like pointing at him and stuff like that. Moutinho was. He was doing some things to show you that he was not visibly out of the fight. So that's why I just thought it was weird that he was eating shots the whole fight. He got dropped at the end of the first round. But other than that, there wasn't really too much of a sequence. He was eating shots, like he was getting crushed, but he did not show signs of that he was out of it by any means. So that's why, in terms of the stoppage itself, it's like he was literally walking towards Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley's hitting him with punches, but he didn't stagger at any point. And Sean O'Malley, I mean, came up, landed an uppercut, like cross.
People that would have, I guarantee you would have put out Cody, would have put out Dominic Rose, would have put out Frankie Edgar, would have put out all of them.
I mean,
so
O'Malley,
the dude's got a chance.
I mean, he was hitting them with like video game combos, like that stuff that I hit on UFC 4, and like he's sitting over there hitting on the guy, hitting it in real life. But Moutinho did not look like he in any way was adamant. He was still like walking forward, talking to him the whole time, and was trying to walk him down. So that's why I thought the stoppage itself, I mean, just give him the additional 20 seconds to go ahead and just fight it out. I mean, like you said, he's taking the beating to that point. I mean, there's 20 seconds left in the fight. Just let him go out there and let him see. I mean, maybe, who knows? I doubt it, but who knows if he could have thrown anything at the last second, maybe just caught Sean O'Malley with something. I mean, we've seen Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards. Anything like that's capable of happening. So.
I just don't think he would have took any more damage than what he's already taken. Like my view, that shit should have been stopped after the first round. So it's like, with 20 seconds left, it really doesn't matter. Bad stop by Herb Dean. Overall, it should have been either way earlier or it shouldn't have even happened. So
really bad.
Man, really bad. So it's just, dude, I keep seeing the highlight of just Sean just spinning a head kicking him, doing like the dribble, fucking. I couldn't imagine how discouraging that is. That you're getting punched in the face, and in between getting punched in the face, the dude is dribbling an invisible basketball and then hitting you in between each dribble, dude.
He
It's
was,
like
he was doing his best Chris Paul impersonation as he was representing the Phoenix Suns.
Go Suns.
Yeah, he was representing the Phoenix Suns going between the legs and ode to Chris Paul. So yeah, he was definitely showing his ass, that's for sure.
Jeez. So I guess that is the main card. Real quick, our picks, dude. We both got 4 out of 5, and even if like I would have tried to go to, all right, let's go to the main card picks. Guess what? It's still tied as well. It's tied for 4 out of 5. I had Aldana, you had Yana, I had Greg Hardy, you had Tuivasa, I had Burns, you had Wonder Boy, and then you had Dustin. And anyway, so some shit like that. It's fucking tied still. So it's like this belt, guys, still vacant. We just like this show, nothing works out properly, so the belt is still vacant. I tried to do everything, dude. I was like, if we get a few picks in, we can choose like ones out of other ones. But no, we even picked different fights. Like that was we picked one same fight, and like that was the O'Malley fight, and even still, it's like Jesus. So I guess anything else on the main card, man?
No, it was a really good main card, but I mean the prelims had some pretty stacked ones too, though.
What I consider to be fight of the night was on the prelims. We'll get to it though. We'll get to it. I don't want to start talking too soon. Max Griffin, Carlos Condit. Let's just talk about this real quick. Max Griffin I don't want to say he was too confident going into the fight that he was going to get Carlos out of there, because he did drop Carlos, but if you've watched Carlos Condit fight before, he tends to get dropped. I'm not going to lie, but he's just so tough that you can't get him out of there. Max Griffin tends to die down getting close to the end of the fight. So right there at the end, you're like, is Natural Born Killer going to come back and do what he does? In the end, Max Griffin getting it done. Unanimous decision over Carlos Condit. What's up here, man? You pick Max Griffin. I pick Max Griffin like to win this. Hopefully, like you made a little bit of money on this.
So my parlays got busted a little bit earlier in the night, as I was telling you about one of them. But rightful winner, just wrong way in winning. But that fight itself, Max Griffin and Carlos Condit, I actually thought that was a sneaky good fight too. I thought that Max Griffin came out like a ball of fire, dude, and he came
his
out.
His last 2 fights, he really has. Like, I don't know what's changed about him, but he was like, I'm done being this quiet, boring fighter. Like, I want to. Like,
he has came out like a ball of fire, dude.
He really has.
He's been putting the pace on. He put a pace on Carlos Condit there at the beginning of the first round, and like you said, ended up dropping him at one point when he ended up hitting him with a couple of good right hands. I thought there in that second round he was starting to gas a little bit. Carlos Condit was crushing him. It was one of the body punches that he had, that left hook to the body. I mean, he was absolutely digging in with that thing. And I thought that he actually hurt Max Griffin there in the second round. But then Max Griffin was actually able to weather the storm in the third round. Carlos Condit started off the third round good, and was starting to kind of pick up where he left off in the second round with his body shots. But you could see Max Griffin knew that he had to push the pace there at the end to kind of put a little bit more punches in there, show a little bit more effort, so that way he can go ahead and get the nod for the decision win. So I thought that was a sneaky good fight. Carlos Condit, he still showed like he got some good fight in him, dude. I remember he went through that losing streak where he was losing like Cowboy Oliveira and Damian Maia, which, I mean, losing to guys like that ain't bad per se, but Carlos Condit was a former interim champ at one point. So, you kind of hold him in real high regard. It's kind
of starting to mean less at this point. It's crazy to sound, but.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. But he showed that he's still got a lot of fight in him as well. So a lot of people thought he was washed, but no, he's definitely still got it. He can still go in there and bang. And Max Griffin, he's been looking good in the last few fights. So I thought that was a sneaky good fight too.
All right. Moving down to what I thought was fight of the night, Michel Pereira versus Nico Price, man. Michel Pereira, probably one of the top 5 funnest fights for me to watch personally in the UFC. Like up there with Yuri, Holland, Francis. Like those are the fighters that I love watching. Like ones that they're going to go until they don't have any left. And then once they're done, you don't know what's going to happen past that. You better hope you get him out of there while you're going.
And dynamic.
Yeah. So Michel Pereira doing what Michel Pereira does, landing some flips, some off the cage Superman punches. But Nico Price, man, Nico Price is tough. He's a fan favorite. You know, like this guy right here. This guy holds Tim Means and Nico Price up there with the best of them. Like they're not huge names, but just the toughness. They get down. They know what's up. Michel Pereira ends up getting it done. Third round, like unanimous decision. I said third round for no reason. Like it says fucking third round, 5 minutes on here for no reason. So unanimous decision. I called that one. I was like, nope, this one is going to decision, and Michel Pereira is going to get it. I was so adamant about that. I'm like, he's not like fucking Nico's too tough to get out of there with the initial flurry. And I just saw the way it was going. Like he was going to do enough to win the rounds. And then at the end, that's what ended up happening there. So what did you think about this fight and the backflip to definitely head kick on the ground?
He definitely kicked me. And Nico even looked up as the ref was like, dude, like he just freaking head kicked me. Like his toe absolutely dug right in his forehead. I was waiting to see like a big gash on his forehead from the toenails getting dug in. But you know, Nico Price is one of my favorite fighters too. So of course I was super excited for this fight. Michel Pereira, he's of course a fan. I know that's your guy. So I know
dude, fun guy.
Yeah, he's super dynamic. He's super athletic. He's just you just want him to, because you can see the ability. So I can understand why people get frustrated with him, because it's like if you would just calm down just a smidge. He's so explosive. Like it's like just with his jab is explosive.
Even when he was tired, like it's like he was throwing a flying knee. I'm like, damn, that would still probably knock out a lot of people. Like, why are you throwing a flying knee? Just throw the knee. Like, you have to throw the flying knee.
He throws a flying knee like it's a jab. He throws it out there so quick. It's crazy. So people just want him. They can see the talent in him. They want him to be greater than what he might actually be. Mm-hmm. But I think for the fight overall, super fun fight. Michel Pereira, you could tell that he's starting to get a little bit more patience in his game, because he was starting to frustrate Nico, because he was staying out of Nico's brains there for a little bit. And then in the second round, I think him doing the backflips and stuff like that,
he completely gassed.
He's gotta do it at some point just to let him express himself. Yeah. But it always gasses him there, and always, even though he had top position and control for most of the second round, there in the third round, I mean, you could just see it. His hair's just bumbling around everywhere, and you could just see him just bouncing back. His arms are super heavy, super heavy. And Nico Price, I honestly thought there towards the end, like he was throwing some good shots at him. There was a couple of big right hands that he had landed on when he had him up against the cage, and I thought he was actually going to be able to come back and knock him out. But Michel Pereira was able to survive like that last little sequence, and was able to ride off with a decision win. But yeah, I think people just want Michel to be greater than what he really is. But just his ability, you can see like the backflips and
you're like, it's all that possible, bro.
Yes.
Just channel it.
Yes, just channel it just a little bit. So he has to express himself in some sort of way. So that's why he has
my mind. How old is Michel? Like 27, something like that.
I think he might be like 30 now. He's young.
He's under 30 and has like 40 fights already, which is completely mind-blowing that you have all this experience, and he's probably fought like that all 40 of the fights. It's like you're still not used to it. So we'll go down to one of the more odd fights on the card. Ryan Hall versus Ilir Topuria, dude. It's like you see Ryan Hall's game plan a mile away. You got spinning back kicks and you got leg locks. Pick your choice. Which one do you want to do? And if you can't get past that, then you're fucked. But if you can get past that, Ilir Topuria did what I said. He was going to clean Ryan Hall's clock, and that's what he did. Put him out cold. What's up here, man?
Yeah, no, that was super brutal finish there. It just, for Ryan Hall and his jiu-jitsu, you just kind of see, because he was always like, man, the top contenders are always avoiding me. I'm not going to.
Everyone was avoiding him.
Right.
Like he was like 8-1 going in this fight, right?
Right. I believe so. But he's only fought, what, 4 or 5 times over the last, 6 years?
And he hasn't fought in 2 years, too.
Yeah, right. So, and I think, like, the toughest level of competition that he's fought to this point was a super washed BJ Penn. So I think for Ryan Hall, I'm not saying that people were avoiding him because they weren't scared of him per se. And I'm not saying that everybody's scared of him.
Like who is this guy?
He hasn't been in anybody's thought process enough to actually say, "Oh, well, yeah, Ryan Hall, that's going to be a good fight."
Yeah.
So, and then seeing him come out, it's like for him to be out as long as he has, he's another guy. Similar to Greg Hardy, he hasn't made any strides in his game to develop anything else other than leg locks, his jiu-jitsu, spinning heel kicks. I mean, and that's cool to have, but at some point when you want to try to take yourself to the next level, he's going to have to add more wrinkles to his game. I just thought Poirier, you could just see he was the more well-rounded, super patient, waiting for his opportunity. And as soon as he got Ryan Hall on the ground and in a position where, like, you could see Ryan Hall's arm was locked behind Poirier's shoulder. And as soon as he had that opportunity to where he was going to land some damage, he crushed him with that ground and pound until he was finally able to knock him out cold.
Put him out cold. So as far as, like, Ryan Hall, like, if you're going to take off 2 years like that, you got to come back looking like Ortega after Ortega came back. Like, you got to look completely different if you're taking 2 years off. But you got the same Ryan Hall. You got the Ryan Hall with the spinning hook kicks and then Imanari rolls. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the only 2 things that he showed. So it was kind of odd. Anyway, Ilya Poirier, I just had crushed him. So let's go down to, I guess, the one that you picked correctly. You were so confident. Dricus du Plessis, as he made everyone know, dude, he did not want you to say his name wrong because apparently we have such a hard time saying it because it's a common name there. Like, there's plenty of American names, bro. Yeah. I guarantee you. Say this man's name.
Yeah, do it. I dare you. Say Dorian. And try to say it one time.
By just reading it.
Yeah, you know how many people mispronounce my name? So, yeah.
But all through high school, like Durango, Dorito.
Dora, Dory. I mean, any D you can think of. It's never Dorian. It was never that.
Yeah, so, man, I like Trevin Giles, and it was a good back and forth fight there until du Plessis just cracked him with his hands down and just out cold, man. Out cold. What happened here?
Yeah. Well, I thought.
Hold on. Let me just say. You said in the pre-fight that you thought that, like, the du Plessis was going to be able to control the range because he was a lot bigger. When in actual, like, reality, like, I saw Trevin Giles kind of more of the one that, like, held the center and was kind of keeping the range. So that surprised me because you were so adamant on du Plessis being, like, the longer, bigger guy there.
Right. Well, and I think I was talking about in terms of, like, the body mass as well with Trevin Giles.
Gotcha.
With him fighting that, he's naturally a 185er because where he has I believe it's a diabetic problem.
Fuck Dustin Poirier.
I would say that's how you feel. I would say Taito Ivasa you hate, man. But no, I just thought that, like, as far as body mass, Trevin Giles having the diabetic problem that he has. You could see, like, body mass wise, du Plessis is stacked. Yeah, he is stacked, dude. So, but Trevin Giles, he has really good cardio because he doesn't have to cut as much weight. Mm-hmm. So, he kind of has that similar to, like, a Wonder Boy bouncing style. Like, he kind of had his hands low, bouncing on his toes a lot. But I think that where he's so explosive, I think du Plessis was kind of, careful as far as how he wanted to approach him. But that little sequence there at the end, you see Trevin Giles was starting to get warmed up. He started landing the brutal elbows. He started landing the combos.
I'm a fan of Trevin Giles.
He's a fun fighter to watch. His fights are never boring. That's one thing I can always give him. Whether he wins or loses. I thought he lost the James Krause fight. I always thought that was kind of weird.
Coach Krause.
Yeah, Coach Krause, man. I love me some James Krause. I thought he lost that fight, but anyway. But for this fight, man, Duplessis set him up perfectly because it was almost like he did similar to what Anthony Pettis did to Wonderboy when he kind of bounced off the cage. Like you could see Duplessis kind of bounce off the cage, and as soon as he did, he slings forward and just. Wow. I mean,
caught him with his hands down.
I would have just because I know Trevin Giles has a really good chin. I would have never thought that Duplessis would have knocked him out, though. No, that was what really surprised because I was adamant about a decision because I know how tough Trevin Giles is, but I did not imagine that he would have gotten a knockout, perfect punch, and good stoppage there. Yeah, that was also a fun fight as well. They were getting after it.
I guess what kind of throws me off is the guy is almost acting like he's like the new Conor or some shit like that, and you've never really heard of the guy. Like, and he's like acting like he should get like all this like praise, like you guys will know who I am one day. And it's like, man, you do realize you're fighting in the same weight class as Israel Adesanya, right? Like,
well, and
like,
I guess
calm down a little bit.
I guess
just bring it down. I mean, if
somebody
you needed to succeed, if you needed to succeed, all right, cool. But man, from the fans' perspective, we're like, oh man, this guy is way in over his head for what he has shown so far.
Yeah, I guess if you don't believe in yourself, kind of who is, you know? Yeah. So I understand, you know, that from a certain perspective. And I know that he's kind of saying that he wants to be the true official African champion in the UFC because
one that lives in Africa,
right? Because he made fun of Francis. Francis moved out.
Izzy
Kamaru, Izzy moved out. He's saying he's the only one who stays and trains in Africa and represents Africa in that way. So
just an odd visual, I guess.
Yes, it absolutely is. You don't imagine if you put Dricus Duplessis beside Kamaru Usman, you would have never guessed they were from the same continent. Different regions, of course. But yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely gonna be a problem in that division though. His striking is really good. I think once he gets a little bit more experience in the UFC. I mean, he's 16-2 now, so he's got, definitely plenty of MMA experience under his belt. Dude's got good power. I mean, 2 fights in the UFC and 2 KOs against some pretty good opponents. So I think that, he's definitely going to be able to make some noise in the middleweight division for sure. But of course, he's going to need some development and stuff. But hey,
we got time.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah, we got time, man. So it's all good.
Right. So moving on to the early prelims, Jennifer Maia just, how do I say this?
It was a Jennifer Maia performance.
It was a Jennifer Maia performance, and I thought the commentators are really leaning toward Jessica Ai there at the end. I'm like, she's just keep walking forward. Look at the pressure, but I'm like, she's just getting punched in the face. Like it was a preview of the O'Malley Moutinho fight. Not quite as bad, but it was kind of like she just kept walking forward and getting punched up. And man, the headbutt gash, dude. From evil eye to third eye, dude. She's got a whole nother eye in the middle of her head after that. Unfortunately, we did not get to hear the "Here we go, evil eye" chants at the end of the night. But hey, man, Jennifer Maia gets it done. Unanimous decision. I was hoping she would get the sub, but the fight didn't even really go. Like, it only ended up on the ground a few times, and you saw Maia push Eye off and get back up, which is kind of surprising to me because I feel like she clearly had the advantage there. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm fucking freezing in here right
really?
now. Like, cold as shit right now.
Yeah, nah, dude, it feels great in here. We were out in the sun all day, so we had to crank the AC on when we got back.
Anyway, so she gets it done. Anything there or on the Brad Tavares fight? Either one of those?
I'd seen just bits and pieces of the Maia fight, so I just, like I said, typical Jennifer Maia performance. Yeah. What I seen.
Also, like Brad Tavares is really putting on a clinic over Omari Akhmedov, but Brad Tavares is a good fighter. Like he's going to beat most people not in the top 10. Like
he's a great gatekeeper for that division.
I kind of look at him like Leon Edwards, like good fighters, but they just don't really have that finishing instinct, and they kind of fight similar to great kickboxers. But it's like when it comes to that finish, it's like neither one of them really have that kill factor that you see in the top contenders.
I think in terms of holding Brad Tavares up, I kind of hold him in a similar light that Dana White does with RDA. Like if you fight Brad Tavares and you beat Brad Tavares, that means okay, you're ready to take on some of the top competition in the division for sure.
Fair enough. And the fight that opened up the card, because I actually said it wrong on the podcast last week. I said it was a heavyweight fight, even though
I was like, huh?
The dudes have fought at heavyweight before. So on the UFC site, it was listed as heavyweight for his last fight. So it just threw me off. The fight was at 185. It got thrown off anyway. So the fight that actually started the card was Zulis Zumagulov versus Jerome Rivera, dude. Zulis Zumagulov got him in the standing guillotine neck crank, dude, and it lasted about 2 minutes in the first round, over super quick. I had that one going into the third, so that completely shit on him. Most of my parlays, so if I can start off the night, the first fight of the night ruined half my parlays. I was like, damn it. But that was the fights this past weekend, man. A great card until the end, and just a huge letdown. They almost got me to forget that there was no title on the line there at all, and they got my money anyway, dude. I guess overall takeaways from the card too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you go back through the card and you look. I mean, that was a damn good card,
dude. And you normally don't see that with Conor fights, but because the card's usually trash because they pay Conor so much money. But this card was rather good. It had definitely some good sneaky fights on there that were just super entertaining.
Yeah, and good things to take away from Tai Tuivasa. I think people kind of want to see him reinserted back into the top 10 in that division and kind of see if he's able to kind of take the next step toward the top. And then I think, as far as Aldana being able to kind of get back and show what she is capable of doing. Sean O'Malley, he was able to show off a great performance as well. So that main card in general, that was really a lot of star-studded performances from everybody on there. So I thought it was a really good card overall, dude.
Yeah. So takeaways from the card, in my opinion, I guess we're going to see Dustin Conor 4. I just hope Conor gets a win in between there somewhere. Nothing really changed at 170. I think Colby Covington should be next, rightfully so. Sean O'Malley just put on performance. I really want to see him, maybe Dom Cruz, Frankie, Cody Garbrandt, one of them 3 next. I don't even want to see Rob Font too much, just because it's I almost feel like that's the most tough fight for the least name. I guess. It's you kind of have to find that sweet factor, a person that has potential to be a good fight and that has that name. I just don't really think Rob Font's there yet, even though he just beat Cody. Cody still has the bigger name of the two.
I would love to see a Jose Aldo fight or something.
That wouldn't be bad either. That wouldn't be bad. It would be rather tough too, but I almost feel like that's top 3 already. If we're gonna fight Aldo, Peter Yan, that's top 3.
Well, and a Yan.
I'm really wanting the 7 to 5 range, the 8 to 5, right there somewhere. That's where
Aldo top 3.
I think Aldo's definitely got to be top 5. He has to be top 5. Right
I thought it was 5. I thought 5 was what Marlon. 4 was, or no, Marlon's probably a little bit back there now, but
yeah.
But I know what Sandhagen, Jan, Rob Font, Aljamain Sterling.
All right, here we go.
Aldo might be 5.
We got. I know Aldo is number 1 ranked. He's a champion. Corey Sandhagen is 3. Rob Font is 4. Marlon Moraes is 5.
See, that's why
that blows my mind that Moraes is over Aldo. Even though Aldo got the championship fight after he lost to Marlon.
Well, I guess that's why.
It's it's just odd.
And what is Aldo, 6? So
Aldo is 6.
That will put.
I guess it would be 5 because, fucking this has 1 as or as the champion there. So
okay. So yeah, I mean, still, I mean, that's top 5 right there. So that
but what I would really like to see is just somewhere in this. I guess Cruz would be 9, Cody would be 8, Pedro Munoz would be 7, Frankie would be 6. I'm looking someone in that Edgar Garbrandt Cruz range. That's one that it's like it has enough name factor and an older talent that Sean O'Malley could definitely perform on, stunt on.
I love the Garbrandt fight.
I could definitely see it. I know a lot of people that are huge Cody Garbrandt fans. They're like, "Oh, damn, really?" But hey, I'm all for Cody Garbrandt versus Sean O'Malley there. So I guess real quickly before we get out of here, let's just preview next week real quick. There are a few returning names on there. We get the return of Islam Makhachev, dude. Finally going up against Thiago Moises. Not really, I guess, the fight that you really want, like, to be honest, but at least Islam's going to fight again. A lot of people are super high on Islam. They are how do I say, adamant that he's going to be the next 155 champ. Marion Renault versus returning Misha Tate on there, so that's also going to be a good one. Jeremy Stevens, I guess, not going to fight Drakkar Klose. He's going to fight Gamrot, and I don't know. That's going to be probably a pretty banger of a fight. We've got the return of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ace, Rodolfo Vieira. Last loss to Anthony Hernandez via submission.
That was crazy.
But you guys got
completely gassed in the first round.
You guys got to watch out for Rodolfo Vieira. Great jiu-jitsu player, and I would almost bet that he's for sure going to finish, dude. This is going to be like a guy that UFC kind of wants to see him back on the winning track. And Dustin Stolfoots, I don't really know too much about the guy, I'm going to be honest. Billy Quarantillo, Gabe Benitez, Daniel Rodriguez going up against Preston Parsons. I don't know who Preston Parsons is, but
I'm always up for a Danny Rodriguez fight. I'm always up for a Danny Rodriguez fight.
You know what's next? Monserrat Conejo versus Amanda Lemos. I'm a fan of both of these. Why does the UFC keep doing these to me? I am constantly. I'm a fan of. I believe she's like the Brazilian killer, like the zombie killer, like the Brazilian zombie or something like that. She looks kind of like a zombie. I'm not gonna lie. Going up against Monserrat Conejo, Dorian was so happy with her last fight with the ground and pound fights. You hated that so bad.
Yes.
I was a fan. Straight dominance. I guess not really too much else on here. Yeah, dude, not too much else. But fights next weekend. Are we gonna do like the pick show Friday? It's up to you. I don't know if you gonna have time. Like it wasn't too long last time. It was like 20 minutes.
No,
or so.
All
right, so we'll be back, I guess, at the end of the week for our official picks. Hopefully, someone can get this belt at the end because this week it stayed vacant. But that's all for this time. This is Matt and Dorian live in person for the first time. Hopefully, we'll get to do this again one day. But until then, just podcast back again. But this is the Golden Octagon. We'll catch you next time.
We out.
Let's get out of here.